What's up, everyone? This is Aisha, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, The Mastermind Motivator. And today's word of the day is sacrifice. Yes, that word sacrifice. And how many of you watching right now know that in order to elevate and reach higher levels in life, sacrifice must be a part of your process, right? To begin, we all have dreams, right? And majority of us still have dreams. Dreams from when we were little kids that are still waiting for you and I to breathe the breath of life onto them so that they may be activated, right? We as people still have greatness tucked away deep down inside of us like a newborn baby. But we as people have failed to awaken our dreams and untuck our God-given greatness due to our lack of making sacrifices or a big enough sacrifice, right? Unfortunately, many people are unsure as to what it actually means to sacrifice. And for the ones that don't know, to sacrifice means to give up something that is less than, right? In order to receive or gain something that is actually greater. I'm pretty big on quotes, and there's a quote that has stuck with me by a gentleman named James Allen, right? And he quoted, "He who would accomplish little sacrifices little. He who would achieve much sacrifices much. But he who attains highly sacrifices greatly." So we need to start asking ourselves, right? Am I willing to make the necessary sacrifices to get to that place I'm trying to reach in life so that I can receive the things I know I deserve and that I desire, right? How many of you right now that are watching are currently facing stagnation and, let's say, your business, finances, maybe your career, maybe your relationships, your health, or other areas of your life? Because what we have to understand is the lack of making sacrifices will cause just that, stagnation, right? You see, we as people, we want to get to that next level in our life. We want the current situation that we're currently facing that is hindering us to completely disappear and wither away, right? We want to be able to eventually prove to ourselves, right? As our subconscious mind, our subconscious sits back in the stands and watches us. We finally want to be able to speak back and say, I did it. I finally did it. I made that sacrifice. But for the majority of us, we are still stuck at a dead end road, right? And unable to speak back to our subconscious or claim victory due to our unwillingness to just sacrifice, right? How many of you that have a business or maybe had a business prior, right, can honestly say that your business would be further ahead if you would just sacrifice, right? If you would endure the sleepless nights, the uncertainty of not making a single dollar back for a period of time, accepting the fact that you may or may not be supported by friends and family. Because let's be honest, sometimes we're not, right? And also understanding that you're going to encounter some failures along the way, right? How many of you watching right now can honestly say that your marriage or your relationship, right, with your significant other, let's say your boyfriend or girlfriend, or even with your children, your family, your friends, or even a business partner, would be in a better position right now if you would just sacrifice, right? If you would embrace being the peacemaker and not the one who is always right. If you would learn to communicate more effectively, right? Communicate to actually listen, to actually hear, to actually comprehend, and not just to respond, right? To actually take your wedding and your commitments seriously. Take your wedding vows and your commitment seriously, and stop trying to uphold this false image to society, and stop trying to impress others, right? Because honestly, outsiders can care less about what you have going on in your relationship, right? So you have to ask yourself, am I willing to make the necessary sacrifices right now? And am I willing to make more sacrifices in the long run if need be? Are you? Right? How many of you are willing to make the sacrifice to take your health back? Right? How many of you are willing to give up those unfulfilling habits that are claiming your health? Right? How many of you? Because having great health is extremely important in this life, right? How many of you are willing to give up those toxic relationships, right? Those relationships that are destroying your mental health and your body, right? On a cellular level, because these toxic relationships will destroy your body before you even know it. It'll have you aging. It'll have you stressed. It'll have you depressed. It will have you being someone other than who you truly are. Let's just be real, right? And if you're willing to give up those toxic relationships, are you willing to start back sleeping alone? Are you willing to start back being by yourself, not seeing that familiar face, so you can gain back your peace, your joy, your happiness, right? And a healthy mental health. This is something we all need to think about. Am I willing to make the necessary sacrifices now so that I can get greater in the future, so I can receive my greater, so the change can make me be a better person in the future? Again, this is something that we all need to think about, right? I'm really not sure if you guys understand how blessed you guys are, right? How blessed we are as a people, right? To wake up every single morning with the breath of life in our lungs. And many of us don't sit back and think about it. You know, we're so stuck to a daily routine. We get up in the morning and we begin our day. But to be able to wake up with the breath of life in our lungs is a blessing. And I'm not sure if you guys know what that means, right? But in my opinion, right, I think it means that it's not too late. It is not too late for us, for you, for myself, to make the necessary sacrifices that we need in order to get to that place we've always dreamed of, right? It means that we still have life inside of us and God is not done with us as yet, right? In the Bible, the book of James, chapter 4, verse 14 is a very important verse to me, right? It says, "You do not know what will happen tomorrow, for what is your life? It is a vapor that appears for a short period of time and then vanishes away," right? Let me say that again. It's the book of James, chapter 4, verse 14. It says, "You do not know what will happen tomorrow, for what is your life? It is a vapor that appears for a short time and then vanishes away." And if anyone knows what a vapor is or doesn't know what a vapor is, it is like a mist. You know, when you spray, a mist in the air and it slowly dissipates and it disappears. Or if you're someone who've ever had like a humidifier and the vapor, it comes out and you see it for a brief period and then it disappears in the air. That's basically what that scripture is stating our life is. It's an indicator that we are only here for a short period of time. And with that being said, right, we don't have forever to get it right. We don't have forever to make that sacrifice. We don't have forever to start our transformation, to start our change, to work on success. There comes a point in time where that forever is done, right? So you have to ask yourself, what am I waiting for, right? If someone was to come to you right now and say or tell you your exact date and time you would die, right? Would you then be willing to make the necessary sacrifices in order to get that change that is needed in your life? You have to ask yourself that. And even though we may not know our exact date and time, what we do know is that we all have an exact date and time that is coming. Right? So I challenge you guys to ask yourself, okay, What am I willing to give up now that is less than, so that I can make room to receive my greater in the future? That is a very important question that we need to ask ourselves, because we don't have forever, right? There's something that I want to share with you guys briefly. Okay. I was involved in a relationship at one point in my life, right? And that relationship started becoming extremely toxic. No matter how much praying I did, nothing changed. And I prayed continuously, right? It basically got to a point where I literally had no more words to give. I had no more words to give. And I'm pretty sure, if not all, who are watching right now, majority of you can relate. I'm pretty sure there's been something going on in your life, a situation where you prayed, and it seemed as though nothing would change. No doors open. The situation remained the same. If not, it got worse, right? It was like I got weary of praying. It was to the point where I was weary of praying. I was running out of words to pray to God. It was like the more I kept praying, the harder I kept praying, the worse my situation kept getting. It was like God was mute to my voice, mute to my heart, and to my situation. And it was a sad situation. But then one day I said to myself, and one day I realized, and I said, God is listening. God is listening. That stillness that I'm experiencing from God, right, is God's way of speaking to me louder than ever, right? You see, God was not going to give me what I wanted, which is what I thought I wanted, which is what I was praying for, because it wasn't what I needed. And let me say that again. God was not going to give me what I wanted, which is what I was praying for, because it wasn't what I needed, right? It was at that point in my life I realized that I was going to have to make one of the biggest sacrifices in my adult life. I was going to have to give up what was less than, right? Which was that toxic dead end relationship, in order to make room to gain and receive my greater, which was getting my joy back, getting my peace back, improving my mental health, and just being me all over again, being Aisha again, right? I was in this relationship, right? And I stayed there because it was so comfortable to me and it was familiar, right? How many of you have been stuck or are currently stuck in a situation or position because it is comfortable, it is familiar, right? Everything in that relationship had me anchored and chained in my comfort zone, literally, right? You see, I was praying to God to keep me in a situation that was so familiar to me because I was afraid of change. But sacrifice is what I needed to do, and sacrifice is eventually what I did. That was what I needed in order to change, in order to get my greater. I needed to make sacrifice. Right? So I'm here to tell all of you that are watching at this very moment that the change you so desperately need to happen in your life right now involves you taking that first step, which is making that sacrifice, right? Some of you may have to do it in baby steps, and others may have the ability to do it all at once. But whatever your situation may be, just remember to do it, right? Because unfortunately, some of you guys will never be able, right, to experience the greatness that's in the next level of your life due to your unwillingness to give up what is less than right now so that you can get your greater, right? I want to go ahead and share with you guys some simple but effective steps that I basically did that helped me, that I still use to this day, that still helps me when I'm faced, with a situation. I know, okay, I need change, and I know this change is going to require me to make some sacrifices. So I use these 3 simple but effective steps. And if you guys will just start them, start using them and apply them, you guys will definitely be headed in the right direction. Okay. The first step involves you identifying the current situation, your current situation that is currently off balance, that seems to be off balance, right? Whatever the situation is, you need to first identify it, what it is. You can't fix something, change something, sacrifice something unless you know what you're sacrificing it for, right? So you first need to identify what your situation is that is off, what situation you have that is off balance. It could be, a relationship, a marriage. It could be, your health, your finances, your career, whatever it may be. It may even be multiple areas of your life, right? And you guys need to remember, in order to have true balance, you must first identify what is off balance, okay? Remember that. The second step involves, you identifying, right, what is causing the imbalance, right? Once you identify the situation is off balance, you want to identify now what's causing the imbalance. What is the reason or reasons, the situation is off balance? You want to create a list and you want to go ahead and evaluate and analyze that list, right? And the final step, involves you identifying the changes or adjustments that need to be made in order to bring your current situation that is off balance into alignment so that it can accelerate, right? So acceleration can kick in so that it can move forward, right? This is the step where you discover what sacrifice or sacrifices need to be made in order for the change to happen and for you to get to that destination, right? So the first step, again, is identifying your current situation that is off balance. The second step involves you identifying the reason or reasons as to why the off balance is happening. You want to make a list, you want to evaluate the list, and you want to analyze that list, right? And again, the final step involves you, right, figuring out, identifying what changes or adjustments need to be made to bring the situation back into alignment, right? And this is the step where you discover what sacrifice or sacrifices need to be made, right? And I know it sounds, it's easier said than done, right? So that's why these steps are going to require you to have willpower, strength, and courage, right? And if you have enough courage, right, not to fear change and to focus on your greater that's to come and not where you're at right now, you'll be able to maneuver through these steps and through your situation so that you're able to get to your desired destination, right? Now, some of you may be sitting watching this video and say, okay, well, can you give me an example of a situation and how you work through the steps, right? So let's just say, for the purpose of this video, let's just say, we're at step 1 and we want to identify the current situation that's off balance. Let's just say it's a marriage, right? Your marriage is off balance, right? You've identified it. My marriage is off balance. It's not, going the way it should. We're having trouble. It's not where it needs to be, right? The second step now is I need to figure out why my marriage is not where it needs to be. I need to have a list of the reasons on why my marriage is failing, okay? Or it's not strong as it used to be, okay? The first reason could be, there's no effective communication. Poor communication skills. The second reason could be we're having financial trouble. Maybe he or she has a gambling problem. The third one could be, someone has a mental health issue. Whatever the reason is, what's causing your marriage to fail. It could be infidelity, right? Once you have the reasons listed, now you want to analyze, right? And you want to evaluate the reasons. Okay, the first reason is, we have poor communication skills. Why do I feel I have poor why do I feel we have poor communication skills? Okay, this person doesn't listen. This person doesn't allow me to talk. This person is very disrespectful when they're speaking to me. When they're communicating me, this person's calling me names, okay? You're analyzing it, you're evaluating. So the second reason was, financial hardship, okay? This person has a gambling problem. That's why we have a financial hardship. Okay, this person has certain friends, outsiders that, picks them up every Friday night on payday and takes them to the casino, right? And then he loses all our money. See, that's the part where you write your reasons down, you analyze it, you say why this is happening with this reason, right? And then the final part is now, I need to figure out and identify what changes and adjustments, do we need to make so that our marriage can now be stronger, so it could be back in alignment, right? Let's just say with the poor communication skills, right? Let me and my husband or me and my wife, seek counseling from a professional. Let us stop using mom and dad, sister and brother, cousin and aunt. Let's get someone who doesn't know either one of us and someone who's trained in this area to help us, right? That could be a way to help with this situation. Let's just say the situation involving the gambling and the outsiders, maybe it's time for us to cut those friends off. If those friends are leading my husband or leading my wife, in a bad direction, maybe, or they have a bad influence, maybe it's time for us to leave those people alone for right now until my wife or my husband can get over their gambling habit. Maybe we can get them into type of rehab that can help them with their gambling issue, right? Let's say the third one is, they have a mental health issue, right? Maybe it's time to get this person some help. Maybe it's time for us to stop sweeping, everyone goes through this, and stop sweeping it under the rug. So this is just an example of how you can go through the steps with your current situation, right? And that's why I said some people are going to have to take baby steps, because for an example, when you're dealing with a situation involving a marriage or a relationship, sometimes it's not as easy as just making that sacrifice and saying, okay, boom, it's done. Sometimes it calls for you to take different steps involving, different steps to get to that one sacrifice. Let's say you're involved in a very abusive relationship. You may have to have an escape route. You may have to set a plan. You may have to find, alternate means for housing and stuff like that. So that's why I said baby steps are okay. Just start the steps, right? Let me give you an example for someone who may be able to do a sacrifice at just one point. And maybe somebody who has a business and, just because they had a falling out or something going on with a business partner, it may take one phone call to that person, to that friend, to that business partner, and say, hey, I'm sorry. Let's talk about it. Next thing you know, you guys are back working together, and boom, the business now is going forward. That's why I say it's important to take these 3 steps, simple but effective, because it will help you. And especially, I know for me, when I write things down and it's visual and it's right there, I can work at it, I can tackle it, and I can get it done. Okay. So just remember, in order to be greater, in order for growth, in order to have success, in order to elevate, in order to transform, sacrifice has to be a part of that process, right? In order for us to get certain places, we have to leave certain things behind. So I challenge you guys all who's watching this video to sit down, think about your goals, think about where you're trying to go, think about why you're not there as yet, and see what you need to leave behind so you can get your greater, right? Remember, when you are making a sacrifice, you are giving up something that is less than so that you could receive your greater. Remember that. I hope I was able to help someone that was watching this video today. I hope I was able to, give some pointers out so people can go ahead and sit back and say, hey, I need to make this sacrifice. Hey, I need to go ahead and get my life on the ball. I need to go ahead and get this done. Time is not forever, So again, I'm new to this YouTube thing. This is about my second video. So bear with me. If you guys have a certain topic you want me to speak about, leave it in the comments. Please do not forget to subscribe, to like, and turn on your notifications. I will continue to bring you guys videos and different topics, to the best of my ability. Again, remember, it is you against you. Nothing changes unless you change. And again, thank you for tuning in to Aisha, the Mastermind Motivator. And until next time, I will speak with you guys. Love you. Be great.